It was the middle of winter, deep in the Ural Mountains, a place where temperatures drop below -30 degrees, where the wind never stops and the silence feels heavy. 9 experienced hikers entered these mountains. They were young, strong, highly trained. They were not afraid of snow. They were not afraid of storms. They were not beginners. And yet, none of them returned alive. The year was 1959. The hikers were students from the Soviet Union, most in their early 20s. All were experienced outdoorsmen and women, certified Grade 2 hikers with ski tours experience. Their goal was simple: reach a mountain pass, complete the expedition, and return home. They carried proper equipment, warm clothing, food, maps. They knew the risks. They planned carefully. Nothing suggested disaster. Before leaving, one member, Yuri, turned back because of illness. He survived. The others continued. On February 1st, they set up camp on a slope, not in the forest, but on an open mountainside. The wind was strong. Visibility was poor. But this was not unusual for the area or for hikers of their caliber. They cooked dinner, they talked, they laughed, they wrote in their journals. Nothing sounded urgent, nothing sounded afraid. This was their last night alive. Weeks later, search teams found the campsite. The tent was still standing, partially buried in snow. But something was terribly wrong. The tent was cut open from the inside. Long, deliberate slashes in the fabric, as if they fled in a panic. But why cut their way out when the entrance was clear? Inside, boots were left behind. Coats, supplies, food was untouched. They ran out into the night, barefoot, half-dressed, into deadly cold. Investigators followed a trail of footprints leading away from the tent, down the mountain toward the forest. The tracks were calm, not chaotic. There were no signs of a struggle, no frantic running, just a steady, orderly walk, as if they were guided, as if they were compelled to leave. The footprints stopped at the tree line, about a mile away. And there, the first bodies were found. 2 hikers lay near a large cedar tree, barefoot, wearing only their underwear. Their hands were burned and raw, as if they had desperately tried to climb the tree. A small fire had been lit, but it was not enough. They froze to death. Nearby, 3 more bodies were found, spread out between the tree and the tent, as if they had tried to return. They never made it. Months later, after the heavy snow melted, the remaining 4 hikers were found. They were discovered buried deep in a ravine, about 75 meters from the cedar tree. Their injuries were severe: crushed skulls, broken ribs, damage so massive it was compared to a high-speed car crash. But here's the truly disturbing part. There were no external wounds, no blood, no signs of a fight. One woman was missing her tongue. Another had her eyes missing. Their skin showed a strange orange-tan discoloration. And to make it even stranger, low levels of radiation were detected on some of their clothing. Nothing made any sense. The Soviet investigation was brief, controlled, quiet. The official cause of death was stated as an unknown compelling force. The case was closed. The files were sealed and classified. For years, the area was restricted to the public. The families were left without answers, and the questions only multiplied. Over the decades, many explanations have been proposed. An avalanche is a popular theory, but the tent was only partially collapsed and still standing. The footprints were intact, not buried. Military testing of secret weapons or explosions could explain some things, but no evidence of a blast was ever found in the area. Some suggest infrasound, a low-frequency sound that can cause panic and disorientation. But would it affect a whole group of trained hikers in the exact same way? What about a wild animal? A bear, perhaps? But there were no bite marks, no signs of a struggle, no blood. Some believe something unknown was present on that mountain. Others believe that fear itself was the killer. But the central questions remain. Why would 9 trained, intelligent hikers cut their way out of a perfectly good tent and walk calmly into lethal, sub-zero cold? Why would they leave the safety of their shelter for certain death? Why did some of the bodies show such massive internal injuries without any external trauma? Why was the truth hidden for so long? What really happened that night on the mountain? The Dyatlov Pass Incident is not a ghost story. It is a human mystery. One without a clear villain, without a clean answer. Only silence, snow, and 9 unanswered deaths. Perhaps there was no curse. Perhaps there was no monster. Perhaps the most frightening truth of all is that we may never know what happened. This was episode 5 of our series, Ancient Curses That Might Be Real. If you found this mystery as compelling as we do, make sure to subscribe. The next story we're exploring will be even more disturbing. Thanks for watching.